I want to talk about this because look, this is again, a safe space, right? So when you guys introduced me to Shofu and I didn't really know the company, I started with the restorative materials, and I'm not going to argue with you, Jeff. I carry around my Shofu compules. This has been an amazing workhorse flowable for us. I use it all the time. And we'll talk about the benefits of that. I'll let Chad spend time. But I'm going to geek out on this for a minute because I had no idea about this camera. And I talk about this camera in my lectures a lot. And the reason is a couple. And I want to highlight some of the features that for me as a clinician have meant the most. The first is it is 100% CaviCideable. And look, it's still in great condition. And I've had this camera now for about 4 years. And it still looks as good as it did the day that Chad gave it to me because he had an extra one. So see, anyway, white down all the time with CaviCide, no problem. The other thing is you're not going to be able to appreciate it, but when you turn this thing on, it has all these presettings that it knows that you're a dentist and that you want to take dental photos. So I can give this camera to just about anybody in my office, and I'm going to get really reasonable photos. Now, they might be crooked, okay? They might be crooked, but the lining of teeth to gum to face is just about always right. And that's because it already has all the presettings. Sorry that it's mirrored, but you can appreciate it knows you're a dentist. It knows you want to take dental photos. So it's already got all this stuff. So you pick the mode and then you start teaching your team how to take photos really easily. If I give them a DSLR, Godspeed. Godspeed.
So you just really mentioned the most important piece of what that technology does. And that is the fact that you can hand it to anyone, as you said,
Yep.
and literally teach them to take photographs that you would be proud of most of the time on the screen
Absolutely.
in front of other dentists. And there is no other way to do that. You cannot do that with, an SLR, and you can't even really do that with an iPhone, because even though the iPhone will take some good photographs, you're not going to get the proper lighting with that. And the other piece of that is, who really wants to use their iPhone with their dirty gloves and
No,
worry
that's it, right?
so
Wipe it down.
the fact that you have something that can be handed back and forth,
Yep.
can be completely wiped down. I think the piece for me of lecturing that's always been the most difficult was saying, okay, I had this great case that I should have gotten
Yep.
images of, but I didn't get them because I wasn't available or I was too busy to grab the SLR and get the
That's
proper
exactly
photographs.
right.
And now there is no excuse
Yep.
for not getting the photographs that you want.
That's exactly right. 100%. The last thing I want to highlight, because I didn't appreciate this feature at all, honestly, until Jeff showed it to me. I can't remember which time I learned it because he really was the one that kind of turned me on to it. But I'm going to show, let's see. Yep. The shade photo.
Oh,
To
yeah.
me,
With
that
the
is
with the
huge.
with the black and white,
That's
just
exactly right. So
to
if we look
judge
at
value.
this, shoot. When I lecture and I show people the black and white versus
the isolate shade feature.
Isolate shade. Guys, I didn't appreciate what that did for value, but do you know how many times that saved me on a case where I'll go up and do, I'll say, okay, team, go ahead and take your shade photos. And I've taught them, they're holding the tabs up, they're taking the photo, they're really convinced it's an A1. And then I'll say, I don't know, something seems a little off. I tell you what, just to make sure, go take it in the black and white, and then go ahead and take it with an A or an A2 and a B1, just so I can compare the value.
That's right.
And then they come back and it's a totally different shade. totally different shade. I'm like, nope, it's definitely closer to a B1 in value. So we need to send that to the lab because now they have to compare and contrast between the shade tab photo and the isolate shade. And our shade matching has exponentially improved because we are not just sending traditional photos anymore, but we're sending that isolate shade.
Did you see my post? So last Friday
Yes.
fail that I did was about just that. It was about shade. And I'm sorry for the background noise, but that I cannot control.
No.
But you know that is such an important key. Is that to date I still have not found the ideal shade matching tool, and that has been the simplest process for me. Is that and as John Coyce would say, it's an always.
That's
When
right.
we take a shade, it is a photograph with my dental eye camera with the shade tabs up against the tooth so that the lab can look at both shade
Yep.
and value at the same time with some different shade tabs there. And as you said, the number of shade remakes exponentially went down when I started
Hey,
utilizing that.
you guys have the newer cameras, I think. Does
No,
that
I have
now?
I have C3s also.
Okay.
They're just still holding up
I
so well.
know. That's
I
so good.
hate I mean, I know Shofu is probably mad at me for saying that, but my C3s are just holding up so well.
I know.
Well, the thing is the body's still the same. The technology is mostly the same. However, they just add a couple of features. So like when
Right.
the C3 went to the C4, one of the features that I have in the C4
Video.
is the movie feature. So
Okay.
like I can actually film a video utilizing the camera. And I don't know what the changes are with the CI5.
I was going to ask, because I've seen some movement on the shade stuff, and I don't know if the 5 does this or not, but totally turning off pink, like turning it off to complete grayscale. I don't know if that changes it in as much or like really moves the needle versus the shade isolation setting. So I was curious to know if that was different in the 4 or the 5.
I don't know that I've noticed enough difference, but
Okay.
I mean, mine's pretty much black and white.
Guys, it's just
Exactly.
the fact that I can give this to them and I'm not worried. Do you know how crazy concerned I am about the DSLR when I give it to somebody? It's like off balance a little bit, and you know how expensive the lens is. So if they drop it or scratch it, it's a problem. But I give this to them and I'm like, yeah, go ahead. It's fine. Just go. You go take your photos. You're going to be fine. I'm pretty sure you could drop it and it would still be okay. I haven't proved the concept, but I think it might actually survive a small gravity fall, maybe a small one.
Well, one of the things that I want to point out too, this is really interesting. And JB, you were there to witness this. One of the greatest compliments that you can receive is your photography is fantastic. And we were in Florida at Longboat Key, and Dr. Ross Nash came up and complimented my photography. And people do not believe that nowadays I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt for the past 5 to 7 years, every photograph in every single one of my lectures is taken with that camera.
Yeah.
And people don't believe it. They're like, oh, how do you get those good pictures? I'm telling you, if you learn how to use it, which isn't hard, you hold it down halfway, it focuses, it's ready to go, it clicks, you're done.
Can we please get raw images, Shofu? That's my only ask. My only ask is to have a raw image conversion so I can prove to an accreditation organization I have not manipulated the image in any way. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking.
And that's the only thing. That's one thing that I would say too. I never manipulate the lighting on the photography.
Never.
The only thing that I do is crop and rotate. That's it.
Sometimes you gotta.
And that's completely legal.
I know, but I'm just saying if it's not raw, you actually can't submit it for a lot of accreditation requirement.
And honestly, the only thing I have ever done is delete the picture and use someone else's picture.
Yeah, I've
I
done that
subscribe
too.
to that method.
I have done
I
that
am
too.
a really good dentist because of Chad's dentistry.
Yeah,
I'm
that's right.
teasing.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, yeah.
it really is. It's you do not have to manipulate these images because they're good. The LED
That's right.
lighting is custom set for if you're doing a mirrored image, it changes the lighting so you don't get a bad, glow and reflection. If you're doing surgery or a close up, it changes the LED lighting appropriately. If you're doing a macro image, it changes the LED lighting appropriately. And there's just no other way, as you said, to hand this to somebody and expect to get that type
Right.
of an image. So that's why I said, to me, there is no bigger no-brainer in dentistry.